Welcome back. We return now to our breaking news. This is a live look at the crowds that are starting to gather outside the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. this morning, protesting the High Court's decision that was released just a short time ago to overturn Roe v. Wade. Once again, it came down just a few minutes ago. Of course, this is a major blow to abortion rights in the United States. Constitutional protections for abortion have been in place since 1973. Right now, our 9 News legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, joins us to talk about this landmark decision. It is expected to lead to abortion bans in maybe half the states in the country. So we were telegraphed that this was going to happen by the leak of the Supreme Court decision earlier. So are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised, and primarily because of the leaked decision. I'm actually surprised that that decision was leaked, and that actually has real concerns in terms of our process and trusting the process and things of that nature, because those drafts can change from draft to draft, obviously. Right. And so here, so I'm not surprised once having seen the draft, and I think now we're going to see a lot of changes. We saw changes when the draft came out, certain states implementing legislation, including Colorado. So it's going to have a real impact on our country.
I know that the decision is huge, but can you boil it down? This means that abortion rights are going to be kicked back for states to decide, right?
That's exactly right. It doesn't mean abortion is unlawful. It really depends on the states. And that was really the issue, that when you looked at the sort of conservative liberal and the states versus federal, it was saying, hey, this isn't a constitutional issue. This isn't an issue that the federal government, that the U.S. Supreme Court should be dealing with. This is an issue that should be with the states. And that has been the argument the whole time. And essentially, that's what Justice Alito said in this opinion, that and essentially it was dealing with the Mississippi law, which was trying to ban abortions at 15 weeks. And essentially what they said was, yes, this is a state issue, so we're kicking it back to the states. Some states have laws on the books outlawing abortion, preventing it. Some states never abolished their laws. Even after Roe was passed in 1973, they kept their abortion laws on the books. So some of these are really, really old laws. And
yeah.
So, yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot has been made of Supreme Court precedent, and they've heard this issue before, but it's always come down to precedent. Well, the precedent is that abortion is legal in this country, or, you know, abortion rights are legal in this country. Precedent kind of went out the window this time, right?
Right. Well, they reversed themselves, essentially, and that happens. That's happened I think 15 or 16 times since Justice Roberts has been the Chief Justice, since 2005. So it's not surprising they do that. And then, you know, and here the issue is now going to be, okay, the states now have these rights, because Roe was based on this notion of privacy, that it was in the Constitution under the Griswold case. And so now they're saying that, no, that wasn't part of the Constitution, that wasn't what they were considering, so we're going to leave it up to the states. And so about 26 states now have something on the books banning abortion, and there's about 16 states, including Colorado, that specifically protect abortion, say, yes, you know, this is a right that you have in this state.
Yeah, and the states that want to ban abortion, some of them have these trigger laws, and so it's going to happen pretty quick.
That's exactly right. Some say it becomes effective immediately, or 30 days after a ruling, or even 90 days after a ruling. So how this gets implemented, it will be quick. And there's going to be a lot of issues, though. You know, they said that this isn't a privacy issue, but for example, some of these states are proposing laws that would make it a criminal act to leave the state to go to get an abortion. And my question is, how would you enforce that? How would you know if somebody is 15 weeks pregnant? Right? I mean, that would be a privacy issue in my humble opinion. So the enforcement of this is going to be an issue. So although we've just had this Supreme Court ruling, there's going to be significant litigation throughout the states on what can and can't happen in the parameters of this new law.
Okay. So once again, the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, but it's not a ban. It's not a nationwide ban. It's going to be up to states. And in Colorado, I mean, Colorado has been very progressive in keeping abortion rights going.
That's exactly right. And so there was a law passed, and Governor Polis signed it, and essentially saying, yes, you have this right, and no county or legislative or no municipality can impact that. Now, here's the issue. That's just a statute, so that can obviously be overturned. It's not until you have a constitutional amendment that it's really sort of enshrined. So although that is a right now, and Colorado is fairly blue at this point, it could change if the legislature went another direction.
That's an interesting point, yeah, for sure. Whitney Traylor, it's always good to see you.